Hello, this is Valerie Aiello, and you're listening to IdeaDiary. Thanks for coming back to my office and hanging out. Okay, so I'm getting a really good idea of what I'm thinking is 2021, the new way to do social media, publicity, marketing in general. I'm thinking that if you have your own company or you're solopreneur or you're an employee for a company, big or small, I think this kind of idea of you have to be your own kind of micro media company within whatever business you're doing. And that's for every single kind of business. I mean, I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't need all this. You know, I'm sure there are plenty of reasons. I mean, plenty of different jobs out there where maybe it is just word of mouth. You don't even need a website. You just kind of make money consistently. There are good times and bad times, and it's not a big deal. You don't need to advertise. I didn't advertise or do anything for 10 years. I would just always get clients from word of mouth. So I know there are certain businesses where you don't have to do a lot, but I feel like if you do actually want to step things up, want to take things to the next level, you kind of are super bored with Facebook and Instagram. TikTok is new, so it's maybe like a new place to be and something funny to look at, and a variety of ages are there. You know, I think there are potentially like a lot of different ways to market yourself. But I feel like every company having an in-house kind of approach to their marketing is kind of where you've got to go for the most part, for like 90% of you. However, social media, I think, is completely changed. I feel like by January, we're not even going to recognize it at all. It's just a hunch, but I just feel like people, your everyday average person, is not really excited about social media anymore. In the beginning, 2007, it was fun, it was exciting, it was new. 2004, 2007 time. But I feel like it's just kind of not as exciting anymore and a little bit boring. And the people that are going to be left on it are the people that are selling stuff. And so it's just going to be a bunch of people selling stuff to each other, which could be a great business and could be a great way to make money and be exciting. But at the same time, I don't know. It's just it feels like the numbers are going to go down and everyone needs to make a new plan. So I'm building my new plan, and that's just kind of, I'm talking it out. I'm trying to figure out what's really happening, what's really good. For the most part, I do think you need your own media department, starting with a podcast. I feel like audio is definitely something to do. So you need to have your podcast, you need to have your YouTube channel or some way of sharing videos, and you need to have a blog. Not necessarily a blog where you're constantly making money, but maybe if you're not so good at audio and video, you can start with a blog. It's not necessarily that you have to have all three, but at least starting somewhere and being good at one and then adding a second one and maybe getting to a third. I feel like that's the way that we're going to take in content and we're going to share content. I feel like that's going to be super important. And not to say that you can't use Facebook and Instagram and all those things, but I do feel like there's a shift happening and people are headed towards places where you can actually monetize your social media using that specific platform. So TikTok, you can monetize. YouTube, you can monetize. Medium for blog writing, you can monetize. In podcast, using Anchor or something similar, you can monetize. You can monetize all those just using the platforms. And you can also take it to the next level to where you're offering products or you're getting your own sponsors and brand deals and different things like that. I feel like the people that are taking social media seriously and that's their job now, or that's the way that they're promoting their company, I feel like podcast, blog, and video is the way to go, using platforms where you can make money within the platform. And I guess I would consider that the content development part of your micro media department. Then we go into the marketing department of your little micro media department, which you'll probably start with a direct marketing plan. Texting, I feel like, is going to be huge, obviously. But I haven't quite figured out how can the average person use texting to keep in contact with their customers, because I feel like right now it's kind of a big company game to be able to send out mass text or kind of work some system to use text for customer contact. I'm sure it's coming. It'll probably come faster than we think. So I feel like collecting text phone numbers are going to be huge. And to go along with that, I think people are going to have their regular phone number and then they'll have their burner phone number. So I feel like everyone's going to have 2 phone numbers now. So like using Google, you can take your Gmail and you can get a phone number that's kind of connected to your whole Google account. And I feel like people are going to use kind of that burner free phone number that you can get from Google as their advertising phone number, to where they can join contests and get text from people and that sort of thing. The faster you can get on the text direct marketing is a really great idea. Then there's email marketing, which I've never been a fan of. I feel like it's really good for certain businesses and it's really pointless for a lot more than it's actually good for. The thing that I realized was if you're in somebody's email marketing loop and you kind of get their emails and you ignore it, that's actually a good thing, because the ignoring part is, that you're interested in whatever that company that you signed up for getting their email, but you're not necessarily ready to delete them and have them completely off your mind. So the game with the email direct marketing is get people to ignore you. And the people that just unsubscribe totally, that's fine too, because they're not your customer and they're never going to be your customer. So if you can get people to trust you enough to give you their burner email, which is, most people have 2 emails, one that they give for advertising stuff and one that they have for real. If you can be valuable enough that they just ignore you, that they keep you in their little email subscriber list and getting emails from you, that's great. And you're kind of like subconsciously in their mind. So I guess coming from that perspective, you're not actually expecting people to read these emails. You're just kind of hanging out in their subconscious mind, I guess, and within their email. I think that is pretty valuable. And direct mailing stuff. I feel like not unsolicited direct mail, but mail that people specifically want, like an Ipsy, like a subscription box. Sophia Amoruso did with her course that she recently released. I believe she mailed a physical course book and package to every person that signed up for her course. So everyone got something in the mail, even though it was just an online course. I feel like that's going to be a huge trend that starts to happen. Direct marketing using a membership platform, I feel like that's an awesome way to stay in contact with people. And direct marketing using events, even if it's just one event a year, having something that you can invite people to and maybe they expect every year, I think is a pretty awesome, totally not annoying way to stay connected with direct marketing. The next level of marketing that I think that people are going to do, and obviously if you work at a giant company or you have a giant company, you're doing all this and you have employees and you have a budget and all that luxury stuff. But for the most part of small business people, they might not even be able to afford outside help doing this. But I feel like just bringing everything inside as much as possible. I know that's easier said than done for somebody like me that I can make all my marketing materials myself and do all kinds of crazy stuff. But figuring out how you could do this in-house, I feel like just the way of the future. There's plenty of places like Canva and Adobe Spark where you don't need to be a professional graphic designer to make any marketing materials anymore, digital or print. So I feel like just taking the bull by the horns, getting it going, and doing this in-house. So doing your digital marketing in-house, making all your artwork and your things that go out. So the OOH, out of home marketing, which is normally like subway posters on bus stops and billboards and flyers, like anything you see out in the real world that's really printed, that's out of home marketing. Not every business needs that, but it's just something to consider. There's different ways to do it, in small ways and in big ways. I would consider collabing marketing, and that's collabing with different businesses and different podcasts and different YouTube channels. That's kind of a crossover between publicity and marketing. And I'm considering social media posts part of your marketing right now, but I'm putting that so far down on the list of things to do. I think creating great content is going to be key before you even worry about that. And social media will still be a little bit of connecting with your current customers. I feel like you've got to shift away from thinking that social media is where your current customers are, because they might not be there anymore. But that social media, although it's not going to totally die, it might just be there to meet new customers. So like throwing something on TikTok and getting 100,000 people to randomly see it, maybe 2 of those people will come follow you and maybe follow your TikToks, then eventually follow your YouTubes or follow your podcast. You're kind of just like capturing them to get into your little galaxy or universe of your brand. The last thing I would say is kind of part of your little micro media department of your brand or company, whether it's your own and you're a solo person, or you work for somebody, or you own a giant company. I would say publicity plan in-house at some level. If you can't afford your own publicist, that could be between $1,000 to $10,000 a month, depending. Having some of it in-house, at least getting started, at least doing something, So having as professional as possible press release that can go out to blogs that have a kind of similar industry that you're in, that can go out to people that you want to collab with. Like I said, collabs kind of marketing, but it's also publicity. Collabing in all the different ways that you possibly could collab in a million different ways. Podcasts, YouTube channels, blog writing on someone else's blog, guest blogging, just different things, but also having the same press release, being high quality enough that you could send it to the local newspapers, local TV stations, local papers, local magazines, local blogs, people still have TVs, at least for now. So there are still local shows that you can be on, different news morning shows in your city, and when you're doing your press, each press piece that gets created, so if you're on someone's show or someone does feature you in a paper or a magazine, blasting out that article or that spot is possibly something for you to write in your direct marketing stuff and kind of blast it out on your social. It's something that someone else has created for you, and that brings so much value, and it's probably fun for people that like whatever you're doing to check out. Anyway, so just to wrap it up, this is just what's on my mind. I'm trying to figure out how to communicate everything. Content creation, monetizing you. So using writing, audio, or video, figuring it out. Like, what can you do? Hopefully it's all 3. Then figuring out your direct marketing. Then figuring out just kind of basic marketing strategies and having a publicity plan where you're doing it in-house. I think you've got to do that all now on top of whatever it is that your actual business does. But everything's getting easier and faster, and all of this work that you're doing that doesn't actually have to do with maybe what you're actually doing to make money, all of this work could potentially be its own revenue stream. You're not just wasting your time. You're not spending money on a bunch of stuff that's not bringing in revenue. All of this is like interesting, fun, unique work that can potentially help you make even more money. So I think it's awesome. This is kind of what I'm thinking about 2021 and what I'm telling people to do and telling you, and I'm trying to figure out how to communicate it all. But yeah, so I guess that's the show for today, and I still don't know how to end the show, so I'm just going to play the music.